There's something devious going on.
Yeah.
That's all we can say. There's something devious, and he alludes to something larger than what he's up to.
Yeah.
So there's some mythology to this school, which was also kind of alluded to in the first season, but there may be something going on here that's beyond what we see.
I'm Kristen from Pop Culture Planet. It's so great to meet you guys. I love the first season of School Spirit, so I'm very excited about season 2. First season, the ending was giving me like, did you guys ever see The Hot Chick?
No.
Oh my gosh. Rachel McAdams switches bodies with Rob Schneider in the same type of energy
Wow, okay.
of you guys.
Now I have to watch it though.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Classic cinema,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'd love to hear a little bit about how this second season is going to like expand upon the first season.
So season 1, very much a mystery, right? What happened to Maddie was kind of the driving idea, but it's also a show where, like in the first season, we had a lot of these ghosts looking at their lives, looking at the things that brought them to the afterlife. So there's a lot of looking back and trying to understand. Season 2 is very much about sort of facing all those things, not just for Maddie, but for all of our ghosts and our living characters. So this year, it's going to be a little bit more confrontational with their own sort of ghosts.
And now that I think we know what happened to Maddie, or kind of who done it, now we have to figure out sort of why and how.
Right. Because if, like, one of my favorite parts of even just watching season 1 is each episode is a new suspect. Who? And now we're locked into a single face. Who is Jen? Why is she doing this? So you could expect very much in season 2 that now that we have someone to track down, we're on the chase.
Rhonda, season 1, you see someone who is actually unwilling to open up and trust, because that's how she died, sort of. So I think a lot of season 2 is seeing how she learns how to open up to people, because it's important. You know, she was hiding all this information that she was digging around Mr. Martin and seeing what was up, and then it comes back to bite them because she didn't just share with you guys. So I think a lot of season 2 is seeing Rhonda in these uncomfortable situations and actually having to deal with her own emotions for the first time.
Yeah, and that it is important that we lean on each other because the stakes are a lot higher this season. The first season we've talked about is like we don't feel affected by what's happened to Maddie because we're dead and this is just how it goes. And then we learn by the end of the first season that that's not the case. And so now the second season we start off right where we left and everything is different. Everything we thought we knew is not true. And so really trying to lean on each other while we try to also find out what's going on. It's spooky. It's exciting.
I think they've hit on it. The characters, the spirits, are much more raw in the second season because they're emotionally impacted by Maddie's plight. And I think in the first season, they're kind of, because they are trapped in the school, it's not that they're impotent, but they can't do a great deal. You know, it's not as easy to investigate when you're stuck inside a building. And I think in the second season, they're looking into their own mysteries, because their mysteries are also plumbed while we investigate Maddie and Janet. Janet is the spirit who snatched Maddie's body.
Yeah.
So these guys play a big role in trying to find a way to lure Janet back to the school and help this body swap, if it can take place. And they've got to investigate that. How did it happen? That's something. This is new to them.
Yeah.
Believe it, they would have left a long time ago probably. They thought it was easy to jump into some crushed spirit. There's a lot of depressed kids in high school.
I remember right at the end of the first season, there was a lot going on around Mr. Martin, who, you know, kind of knows a little bit more about everybody than it really seems. I was wondering if you could share kind of like what you thought when you were like reading that in the first season and like kind of how you feel that's like going to affect the second season.
I had no idea how the first season ended until we got the episode. Miss Yarkin here.
I was told. I gave Nate and Megan, our wonderful creators, some alcohol at dinner, and Megan, it was like, we were shooting, I think it was episode 5, and Rhonda's starting to like be weird. I was like, why is she sucking up to Mr. Martin? And they were like, just play it. I said, no, I don't. I was so pissed. What's going on?
He's like, what's my motivation?
No, literally, truly, I was like, why would she would never. She's not doing this. They said, no, she would. So we have dinner, they have some alcohol, Megan's like, we should just tell her. And I was like, what? So I was the only cast member who was told in season 1
you
what
needed
happened.
to know.
But I had to, because I had no idea.
Because Rhonda did know.
Yeah, Rhonda knew something.
Yeah.
So they told me how it was going to end. I don't think I fully understood, but I knew he was bad. But I was like, I think when I see it, I'll understand it better.
Yeah.
Even when we read it, I think we were like, this is gonna make sense, right?
Yeah.
And then it did. And every time we see the finale, goosebumps. Every time.
Oh, absolutely.
Every time I hear that song,
And then
goosebumps.
this season, I mean, it's, we start off and we're trying to look for him because Mr. Martin's run off, but
That guy is creepy.
he's
There's something devious going on.
Yeah.
That's all we can say. There's something devious, and he alludes to something larger than what he's up to.
Yeah.
So there's some mythology to this school, which was also kind of alluded to in the first season, but there may be something going on here that's beyond what we see.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about just the ghostly lore and how you're kind of doing things a little bit different. I feel like we see vampires, we see monsters, you don't really see ghosts very often. So how you guys are kind of tackling that?
Well, I think for us, ghosts were always sort of a metaphor for us about what it feels like to be young when you kind of feel like you've taken a step outside your own life and you're watching things kind of pass you by. But I think the fun of ghosts as an idea is nobody really knows what they look like. So often we see them as transparent or whatever. We wanted to just take a really grounded approach and keep them just like kids who are unseen. So we kept it pretty sort of straightforward, but I think that is kind of the feeling sometimes when you're young is I do feel like a ghost. I feel like nobody can see me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just kind of leaning into that.
I think also it was fun to give the ghosts a challenge of not being able to affect the living world, so that we have a character like Simon who has to be the go-between between them. I think it made it kind of fun to build up the lore in that way, that they are sort of helpless without the help of somebody on the outside. It just makes everything harder for them, which is fun to write.
I think also that Nate and Megan never wanted, one of the reasons I was attracted to the project, it wasn't sentimental, and the emotions would have to be truthful, but it was about unresolved issues. And they had those in their lives, they had those in their personal lives, they talk about it openly, so I'm not speaking out of it. And I was very attracted to the idea of the metaphor of these people being invisible, because a lot of high school kids do feel that way, or they want to be, for multiple reasons. And I think the show's tapped into something that is about isolation and about the need to belong. What you asked about the second season, I will say, is I think in both worlds, living and dead, the characters are much closer. They're much more bonded than they were in the first season. Rhonda was allowed to be on her own hill and not come down from it and sort of look at other people and, askance and be like, I'm not trusting you to tell you any of that. I think after season 2, she can't do that anymore. I think that they're all exposed. They're all exposed in ways, and I think the audience is going to come along for the journey, and I think be more invested than ever in these people. I really do. I'm not just saying that. I've worked on a lot of shows. They're going to be very invested in these people. I was chuckling because each one of them, in Hollywood, we always say, the actors get to have a reel. They have great scenes. It's like, oh my God, I have my reel now. Every one of these actors in season 2, including our new ghosts, have a reel. They have incredible.
Oh, we do it all.
Got a reel.
This season.
And it's not that they just have really raw, vulnerable moments, funny moments, and romance. Who says you can't have romance after you die? We all something to look forward to now. It didn't happen in this life, it's happening in the next one.
Going into the second season, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, continuing to be sort of that in-between person?
I could say that he really doesn't want to be the in-between person at the start. He kind of, how I see it, the punchline is his best friend left town without telling him anything. He was looking at a photo and said, Maddie actually left me. She's alive and I don't know why. When my friends go to the gym or see a movie without me, I'm pissed. Imagine leaving town and doing all that. I mean, I don't even think he's gonna hug her. I think if Simon runs up and tries to track her down, he's not going for a hug. He's going for well, let's keep it PG. But he's gonna grab her and say, "What's your problem?"
Yeah.
Especially to see Peyton kind of getting to play dual characters sort of in this upcoming second season. What was that sort of dynamic like?
It was incredible to watch her work with some of our other actors and sort of develop this character, and it was really fun to see her interact with Simon, because in season 1 really it was a lot of Maddie and Simon, but it was Ghost Maddie, and now to see him kind of react to this person who looks just like Maddie, who sounds just like Maddie, but isn't Maddie. It was so much fun, and Peyton did such a beautiful job really separating the characters, and so you can tell she's different. She's so different when she's playing this Janet inside Maddie's form. It was a blast to watch. And she really knocked it out of the park. I think she had a lot of fun with it too. But it was also fun to see all the other actors interacting in that way.
That's the thing is, every time I have a scene with with Janet and I'm standing in front of her, my immediate acting choice that I want to do, sorry, it doesn't work for the show, I want to faint all the time. Because if I were to actually, I'm just like, really close your eyes and think, you're seeing your loved one possessed and they have different mannerisms and complete. My mom was acting like someone else. I couldn't I'd faint. So they gotta be really strong.
Yeah.
It's so underratedly terrifying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is kind of haunting. Oh my goodness. I love that. And so do you guys have like maybe a memorable scene or something that was even like a harder scene where you're like, oh my god, that was a difficult one to put together?
I would say for me, I think about the scene on the stage in episode 108 where Simon tells Maddie that he doesn't believe she's real. That was one of the most incredible scenes to film, for sure. That day was really emotional.
Which actually, when he says the line, I wish that were true, when he looks at her, that unintentionally looked like he was the murderer.
I know.
I was like, you edited that in a way,
He
but
messed with you.
darn, I was not in control of that choice. It was completely accidental. He looked like I wish that were true, I killed you, is what I thought he was going to say. One of my favorite scenes in season 2 is actually when Xavier and Simon are in the car together, and they had just failed big on a mission, and they developed a bit of a brotherhood because they go on so many adventures. So for the first time, rather than hate the guy or have tension, we kind of console each other. We kind of say, man, that was hard, I got your back. And I liked being able to like Xavier for once.
Oh, I love that. I was going to say, you said brotherhood, and I know this cast has become so close, and I had talked to Spencer for another show, and he was like, oh, we a bunch of us got like ghost tattoos, and I was like, that's crazy.
They did, yeah.
I'm like,
This
were you
cast
also
is-
one of those? Oh.
I was like, wait, what?
I said, let's wait for the renewal, guys.
There we go.
So for this new season,
future.
yeah, the premiere,
Exactly.
and everybody get those ghost tattoos.
My mother would
Season
kill me.
Yeah.
She's not allowed
I
to
also
say.
can't go to hair and makeup or any earlier to cover something up. Then I'm already calm. So.
But they were temporary, the ones you gave us.
Yeah, but
We got
no,
temporary.
but Spencer
I know.
and Milo.
Okay.
Got real ones.
They got real ones.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, this cast is, and like the producers, the crew, I mean, everybody is we all get along, and we're very lucky. Like, it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's very fortunate. We did a great job casting. I'm going to give us a little
You
pat.
did. You guys
Because it's a really special group. We're very talented people.
did. Absolutely.
And very distinctive and very much like you look, when they come back on the screen, you look forward to it. Do you know what I mean? Because like, oh, I wanted to see more of him. I want to see her again. And, you know, I think it's nice. It's very unusual to have a show where I think people are emotionally invested in everyone.
I agree. I want to thank you guys so much for your time. I'm so excited to see everything that happens in season 2.
Consider subscribing if you like this video and get even more entertainment news at popcultureplanet.net. See ya!